to go out like that in a good way is just so awesome. I was thinking after the Idaho game, they had senior night, really good team. 5 seniors getting recognized, packed house. Their women played after us. They beat our women for the championship. It was a phenomenal atmosphere in Moscow, Idaho. And we went in there and we beat them. And I think it's just kind of demoralizing for those players in the sense of like, man, it's their last game and they walked out with a loss. And that can happen. That's happened to us too. So my point being that for a guy like Brock and Zach and Quinn to finish their Bears home career in this fashion is just really cool. And then I look at two like guys, specifically Tanner, Brakita, Chance White, Walker Asp, and then Hunter Caldwell, who's gotten a little bit of opportunity. Those guys are good players, and they've had almost zero opportunity to play. And the reason being, we haven't blown anybody out. We've never been blown out, and luckily we've avoided injury disasters. And so guys that are good enough to play never got really a chance. So to be able to get Tanner and Chance and Walker and Hunter those minutes at the end, that was so rewarding for me because they've been through this for 7-8 months, doing everything we've asked them to do, good enough to play, never got a chance. So to be able to get out in front of that crowd, bang some shots, be a part of a 30-point win, that's a big-time thing. So that's on my mind too. The other thing is, 20 wins, and I hope people don't take that for granted. I know I don't, but we're the only team in the Big Sky that got 20 wins this year. Nobody else can get it because Portland State's at 18 going into the game they're playing right now. So in the regular season, we are the only team in the Big Sky, and we have a hard schedule in the non-con. And I'm really proud of that, and you look at it too, we've won 20 or more games 3 of the last 5 years, and then we had 19 the year we had St. Jared, Missouri, those guys. So I'm proud of the fact that we found a way to be successful and to sustain success. I always believe the only true test is the test of time. I think through the test of time we've been successful here and we'll continue to do so, but really proud of it. Now going to tonight's game, that was the forest, is the trees. The trees, just a great game. I knew we were going to be tired. I knew they were going to be tired. The first half was exactly what I thought the game was going to look like, which was just brutally disgusting unless you like a bunch of defense, which is cool, but it was brutal. But what people don't know is we were up, the reason I look so tired is we were up at 2:45 in the morning yesterday to fly out at 5 a.m. from Spokane, Washington. People don't know that. We don't charter. And so our two options was a 5 a.m. or a 5 p.m. flight when we booked these flights 6 months ago. And we said, well, if we leave at 5 p.m. on the West Coast, we'll get back to Greeley at 9 o'clock. That doesn't sound right. So let's just bite the bullet and get back and at least be in our own beds and at our own houses and apartments and whatnot. But when you leave at 3 a.m. for the airport, that takes a toll on your body. And we would never make that excuse, but that was hard. Third game in 5 days. Denker played 39 minutes against Idaho. Then we had to get him up at 2:45 in the morning to catch a flight. So point being is that I figured it'd be a gross, tired, mistake-riddled. No one can make a shot. They're tired too. But then we found that second win, early in the second half, and that's toughness. And I think they've got a really tough program too. I got a tremendous amount of respect for Coach DeCure and their program. I think he's the winningest coach in the history of the Big Sky, and he does it the right way. No gimmicks. He just gets his players to play hard, and they go to war, and that's what we try to do too. But for us, I thought the second half we found a second win, and we just grinded through the thing and found a way to go from 30% to almost 70% shooting. And we were down rebounding the first half, and the second half we flipped that. So we probably out rebounded by 12 in the second half because we were down, I think, 4 at halftime in the rebound category. We finished +8. So there's just so many little things we did at such a high level that I'm excited. I mean, I know I'm rambling, but I'm excited. So with that being said, I will see what questions there are.
Michael?
Coach, you just alluded to 20 wins. I did not know that you're the only program in this conference with 20 wins. After that, we talked about this, the start you had early in the season, then the dismal January, but now here you guys are at 20 wins, now you're getting ready to go into Starch Madness. How does it feel that your team's able to respond to all this adversity all season long?
Yeah, I think it's cool, and obviously, you never sound good when you toot your own horn. So I don't want it to come off that way, but I also want people to know, look, this is a great league. This league right now, out of 31 leagues in the country, it's the highest ranked our league's been in 10 years. It's 16th out of 31. It's unbelievable, and that's why you're going to take some losses. Our league, everyone thinks, you get the league play, it gets easy. It got harder in the Big Sky. But then to your point, Michael, First 10 games, 9-1. Second 10 games, 2-8. Brutal. So the second season, so when we had that kind of meeting with our guys and said, hey, we need to take these 8 box scores and we put them on one paper. I know I've told the story, but said, how are we going to flush this? If we all flush it, we only have one toilet in our locker room, but if we all flush it, we're going to have a sewage issue. So we let Zach do it. So Zach flushed. We said, we got to move on. We had 11 games left, and we said our goal was this is the third season, 9-1, 2-8. We got 11 games left. Can we just get back to being a winning program? And all that meant was 6-5. That's winning, right? 6-5 is a winning program. Can we just go 6-5? Because if we do that, maybe we can get out of dead last and maybe get up to the 6th seed. Maybe. Who knows? We just went 9-2. We were hoping for we went 9-2. We've won 9 of our last 10 games. And to be honest, the Ewash game was a great game on Saturday night. We were 4 possessions away. It was that close. We played really well, so we're that close to winning our last 10 games. So the response, that's like what life is too. You're going to get hit with a bad medical diagnosis. You're going to have some bad things happen, and you can either fight or flight it. And our team, they could have went flight mode, but they went fight mode, and they stayed with it and stayed the course. And next thing you know, here we are, 20 wins, and nobody would have predicted that when we were sitting at 11-10, and now we're 20-11, and that's awesome.
Defense tonight too, Coach. You held them to 38% shooting. You held them to 30% in the first half. I mean, pretty much. You said early on, it may not have been a pretty game, but defensively, the whole team, like Montana, the 57 points overall, must be pretty astonishing.
It's astonishing, and they walked into the league tonight. The way I look at this stuff analytically, with the number 1 offense, we had the number 2 offense. I think they're really good, and they're simple. They don't run a ton of stuff, so you always say they don't have tricky plays, but they got tricky players. Starting with Money Williams and Tejan Sawyer, good players. They're tricky. But I just thought we did a good job one-on-one. I thought we did a good job in the gaps and, the team defense side of it. Our guys were just dialed in. So, to hold them to 38%. And like I said, the first half, 30%. We couldn't score to save our lives, but neither could they. That thing sat on like 12-9 or 14-9 for 10 minutes, and I was losing my mind because we're getting good shots. But I was like, at some point, these guys are going to start heating up. Can we please make one shot? And we eventually did. But now the defensive effort, the same thing at Idaho. Our defense was trash in the first half. We gave up 40 points. We were down 40-33. In the second half at Idaho, they shot 25%. We got every stop, and the game flipped. And so for us, again, we got to be great defensively.
You mentioned, the shooting and the shooters, and it looked like on both teams in the first few minutes, everybody was hitting the front of the rim, and I was just thinking, there's some tired legs on both sides of the ball, right? But somehow Zach Block comes out 4 of 8 from 3, 16 points. Most he's had in at least a little while in my mind. And I just thought, he was a real spark, to use a horrible cliche.
Yeah.
Where did that come from then? When everybody else is tired, I don't think anybody else, shot all that super well. Where did that come from Zach? I think I'm going to write about Zach a lot tonight.
Yeah, for sure. Well, he was 1 for 5 at halftime. Because he was 1 for 5 and Ibu was 0 for 3. And I was like, Ibu and Zach are 1 for 8. I think they're great shooters on good looks. I'm like, we got to make some shots. But so point being, he went 3 for 3 in the second half. And he would have had an even bigger game, but we subbed him out, maybe 10, 11 minutes left for a quick blow, and then we just stretched that thing from like 15 to 30. And then it's like, okay, let's not let these guys get hurt going back to let's get these other guys an opportunity. So he didn't play he usually plays 38 minutes. He only played 27 minutes. Okay. But, yeah, he was the spark in the second half, banging those threes, and it was so cool to see him hit those shots. And then when he got to the bench and the game started stretching even more, he knew, like, unless this goes off the rails, I'm not going back in. And he was so excited. He was the guy that said, Coach, like, we got to get these guys in. I said, yeah, we're going to get them in. So he was tremendous. But then, too, what he did, and it's not just him, but he has the primary assignment on Money Williams. Yeah. I don't know what Money had in the first half, but it wasn't much because he hit some of those shots late, and he ended up with 17 points, but two.
In the first half.
Yeah, and Zach was a big piece of that. And so, Zach's value doesn't always show up on a box score, but we know how valuable he is for us.
If I can just stay with that a second, he hit one of those threes in the second half. It was about 13:10 left, 13:06 left. That stretched the score to 48-34. I think Montana called a timeout, he hit the shot from across the court from your bench.
Yeah.
Turned toward the crowd on the south side, fired up, I guess, comes over, the timeout comes, greets teammates on the floor, maybe a little of the nodding of the head. Did the ref give you guys a hard...
No.
Does he like settle down? Because he was going to both benches,
No.
and I was wondering if it was like no showboating and...
No, it's if you gotta like right at the half court line. Is our guys are excited to kind of run out. If they get past that half court line, the refs got to push them back.
Okay.
So it was just more like a technical detail thing. So
I think that's what. Yeah, he was just so fired up at that moment.
For sure.
And then a couple minutes later, I think I thought the other big thing in that swing was out of the timeout. He hits Ring for one of the dunks.
That was awesome.
One of the alley-oops, and I think those two connected on like 2 tonight or something, which was incredible.
I mean, like those Ring plays could be just electric, right? And Ring caught 2 or 3 of those deals, and that's another thing. Like I thought Ring was just so tremendous tonight. His activity, he always plays so hard, but like he did so many good things. It was great to see him play the way he did. Like he is a difference maker for us in the sense of where our ceiling can go. When a guy like him, a guy like Ibu, a guy like Vince, when they play really well, like our level goes through the roof. Yeah.
Andres?
Yeah, Coach, over the season, from the good times to the bad times, especially for the losing streaks, there's always a talk about within rebounding. Especially within situational rebounding, or it was just rebounding throughout the whole game. It's great to see at the last game that you guys only allowed 2 points of second chance points from their offense throughout those rebounds, especially beating up 41 to 33 of the rebounds. Can you talk about that rebound game, especially how well it's looking now going into Boise?
Yeah, it's just one of the staples of our program. It's part of our little secret sauce formula it's not necessarily how many rebounds we get, but it's our rebound effort, the way that we grade our guys out analytically. They got to hit 80%, in terms of their effort. So like if there's 5 opportunities, they got to do their job at least 4 out of 5 times. And we hold them to that starting all the way back in the summertime. And, because of that, going into the Idaho game, we were 4th in the country at not giving up defensive rebounds. And everyone's here, we're not that big. We don't have that big, this crazy big athletic team. We're fine, but like there's some teams a little bit bigger than the Bears. So the one thing in Idaho, though, is Idaho finally broke us in the rebound. They had 16 offensive rebounds. It was the worst all year. So I just told the guys, look, Montana, they do have one of the best offenses in the league. So the first shot's going to be hard, but we got to do a great job. But we cannot give these guys 2, 3, 4 shots. And you look at the thing; they only had 4 offensive rebounds tonight, which I thought was tremendous. So it's just one of our staples. If you don't do your job rebound-wise, you will not get on the court. Our guys know that from day one, and they learn it and they buy into it, and it helps us get really good at it.
I want to talk about the importance of Egan Shields tonight.
Yeah, he was good.
Egan went 4 for 5 from the field, and then 1 for 2 from the free throw, but also collected a couple of boards too. It seems like when he's out there, he's on the pace right away.
Yeah.
There's no settling in. There's no focusing on what he's doing. It's more, get in there, make a play, you get an assist, and then he's coming off a point from a pass from Zach or Quinn. Talk about his importance not only throughout the season, but now towards the end of the season.
Yeah. I think even going back to the Idaho game, he was really good against Idaho as well. Just played really well. We need the best version of Egan. He's still young too, right? So like these guys, they're young. He's only a sophomore, but he's grown up, I think, in front of our eyes a little bit. And I thought tonight he was tremendous. I thought against Idaho, Brock Wisney got 2 fouls in the first half immediately against Idaho, changed the whole course of that game, and Egan did a great job. So him, but then too, when he's in, we can also move Brock to the 4, and that's where we get a little bit bigger and play some bully ball. And those guys, they play well together too. But Egan was great tonight. His motor was great. His detail was great. I thought he played great.
Well, what's crazy about Montana, too, is Coach was looking at the metrics before the game, and us and Montana are the top 2 offensive teams in the league, and they're pretty elite. Like, they don't miss their first shots, especially, too, and so that was kind of a big focal point. But I think our defense goes back to second half at Idaho. I think that was like a huge thing. We that Idaho team is really talented, really good, dangerous, has a lot of weapons. We held them to like 27 points in the second half. And then that just carried over into this Montana game. And to play 3 games in 5 days and be able to have this kind of defensive performance on the last day, too, it really speaks volumes about what we could do and carry over into Boise.
I asked Coach this question earlier. I asked, you guys had a great start to the season. Then you had a topsy-turvy January, but you bounced back last month, and now you guys are at 20 wins. Only team, by the way, in the conference with 20 wins. Talk about how you guys have been able to fend off all this adversity all season long to get to this point.
Like we've been talking about every single time I come in here, it's all about the journey, all about the process, and that speaks volumes to it. Like we had an incredible start, had a really rough middle, and a great way to finish. We've won 9 of our last 11, or 9 of our last 10, and so that's been just incredible. I'm just so proud of my team and what we've been able to do. I just there's so many things I could say, but the job's not done. That's the most important one.
How's that hand doing?
Hand feels fantastic. Yeah, thanks for asking.
$1 million comment like you did the last.
Oh, it's $1 million. Hey, it's $1 million. That was something I was dealing with for a while, and God's good, and so I'm just so grateful to be able to play this game with the teammates I love, and and He blessed my hand, so that's been great.
Quinn, what happened in the second half with you guys? You scored 58 points in that half alone. Montana scored 57 in the whole game. What was different about you guys in the second half?
Yeah, well, I think it was at halftime we kind of came out and we were like, okay, we're playing great defense, but our offense stinks, just being real. And so we were like, okay, this is our last 20 minutes in the Bank of Colorado guaranteed. So what are we going to do with our remaining 20 minutes? We're not going to just come in here and say it's good enough because Coach, he's going to be positive and he'll be like, okay, guys, I know we'll make shots, we'll play defense, but yada yada. But before he came in there, we were like, guys, we have to make our wide open shots. Let's bury these guys away. We're 4 made shots away from them quitting, and so we just need to play as hard as we can, go out there, win the first 4, and set the tone like we did. So that's what I think.
I think the other thing that I wanted to ask about tonight was I said this to Steve. I thought Zach was just a real spark for you guys.
Huge.
Earlier in the game, first few minutes, everybody's missing, everybody's tired, makes complete sense.
Yep.
But he ends up 4 of 8 from 3.
Mm-hmm.
What was going on with him tonight? Why was he playing so well, I guess?
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I think that's Zach Block on a nightly basis. And here's the thing: is the last several teams that we've been playing have been completely face guarding and denying Zach. Because leading up when those games that we were winning here at Northern Colorado, he was getting 15, 10 threes up. And so when you give him that many threes, a lot of them are going to go in. And so the next couple teams that we played, Ewash, Idaho, they were completely face guard denying him. And so he wasn't getting his usual volume or points or whatever it was. And so tonight with a team like Montana, who's normally really good defensively, they were like you said, 3 games, 5 days, they were a little bit fatigued. And I think just by Idaho and Eastern face guarding him so much, he had fresh legs. And so we were like, okay, let's find Zach. And they were going under him a couple times, which you just don't do. He'll make you pay. And so for me, it was just due time. It's like, Zach is going to just break loose whenever they give him the sliver of opportunity.
And he played from what I could see, played with a lot of emotion tonight.
Yeah.
He was just, holding the shot, running back down the court. Is that normally what he's about? Or
Zach is
last game kind of, adrenaline, last regular season game?
In my opinion, Zach Block is the greatest winner that's ever played at Northern Colorado. And I think that just shows that is all that needs to be said, is just he shows it in his ability to guard, shows it in his ability to bring a spark, shows it in his ability to just make winning plays at crucial moments. He's one of the most clutch players I've ever been around, because people think clutch is just making shots, but clutch is just coming up and making a play when it matters. And man, I just think he's the ultimate winner. And so he knew that it was like, man, this could be our last game ever in the bank. And so he was playing with a ton of emotion tonight, and he wanted to leave it all out there.
Andres?
Yeah, Quinn. I talked to Coach, or actually, never mind. You guys held to only 5 3-pointers throughout the whole game.
Oh wow.
Especially, I believe Tajon went 0 for 4, and then Money and Brooklyn Hicks each got one off, I believe, late game.
Yeah.
Was that the plan going into it, especially to add on to it, coming off and then you guys go into the offensive side and crashing into the paint?
Yeah.
Was that a talk before the game to limit their threes and to let them try to break inside, and for you guys to really crash the paint than scoring.
Well, like the players you named, Tajon, Money, Brooklyn, a bunch of these guys, Tyler Thompson, elite players. All of them are really good. And so we're just keyed in on our KYP, which is for us, it's how we're going to guard certain players. And so we were just following the scouting report. We knew certain guys' tendencies and how they like to play. Obviously, when there's as good of a player as Money Williams, like he draws a lot of attention. So we wanted to wear him out and just kind of take away a lot of these really good players, like kind of special plays and opportunities, because they're kind of a team that will run a lot of ball screens, but then they'll run a lot of hitter actions for those kind of guys to get open shots. And so we were trying to do our best just to take away those hitter actions, and then once they get into just their normal free flow ball screens, just let's sit down, guard, and do what we do best.
Ciara, for you guys being both in sports athletics here for UNC, how great has it been to see you guys both supporting each other, one another, throughout with him within basketball, for you for other things as well? How great has it been throughout this whole season?
It's a great question. I love that.
It's honestly been great. I mean, like you said, as an athlete, he totally understands like the schedule, and so do I, of what it takes, practices, team meetings, weights, all of it. And so it's just nice to have someone by you that like understands the same schedule and also knows like the highs and lows of a season and what that means to go through and how they can help you. So it's been awesome.
Yeah, she was kind of a superhero this season a little bit, just especially during that rough stretch. She was pretty big. So that she's been a lot more crucial than people even know.